What's going on, guys? This is Creator here, back for a brand new episode of This Week in Wrestling, where we talk about everything that happened in the world of wrestling, mainly WWE, all this week. Where we talk about the Clash of Championships fallout, what's happening now, the lead to Royal Rumble, all a bunch of good stuff here. But just to let you guys know, as you see right here, Ron's not here tonight. He's spending time in the holidays with his friends and family. So, Ron, I hope you're having a very good day and just enjoy the holidays, man. Luckily, sadly for me, I have to work on Christmas, which is my mom's birthday too. So that's something. But other than that, yeah, man, hope you enjoy. Just me tonight. So it'll be a probably shorter podcast than usual. I'm the only one here. So before I start anything, let me just check. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I tested the sound, make sure everything works. All right. So as usual, if you like today's podcast, make sure you hit that like button, just comment here on my other podcast. Since I'm formally back, it will be every Saturday unless otherwise stated on my schedule. You see, I have a weekly schedule now that you can watch on YouTube. You can see on my YouTube, my Facebook, my Twitter, or my Instagram. You can see my schedule. Also, right now it's currently every Saturdays. Tomorrow, look forward to my channel for the last video of the week will be the reveal of my official theme song for my Payback Universe mode. For you guys who don't know, I'm officially running my Universe mode here on my YouTube channel. So far, I say it's somewhat. I mean, it's good. It just started, so we'll see how well it actually does. And tomorrow, revealing the theme song for my Payback pay-per-view, which is a Raw exclusive one. So for you guys who watched the Raw Universe mode compared to Smackdown one, the Raw pay-per-view is coming up in 2 weeks. So hope you guys enjoy that. And there you go. Before we get to the Clash of Champions fallout, I would like to first talk about all the news, big news stories in related to wrestling. First off, exclusive from the website I usually get notes from in terms of wrestling news. Big Show said he passed the torch to Braun Strowman in an interview that he had with the Wrestling Zone website. First of all, I didn't realize Big Show was a big fan of Destiny too, and he was basically saying, if I can find it right here. Where is it? I'm not gonna look through this whole interview. Anyway, guys, point is, Big Show said he officially passed the torch to Braun Strowman in terms of the big giant in WWE. So I guess Braun Strowman has the torch now. So we'll see how well he runs with it. Also, he's recovering from a surgery, which we all knew of, which is why, if you remember, the last time you saw Big Show, he was in, I believe, steel cage match against Braun Strowman right before No Mercy, and he got kayfabe injured. So he could actually do it for surgery, and he's possibly trying to work as WWE ambassador. Because in case you guys don't know, just like Mark Henry, Mark Henry is like semi-retired from WWE. He's not like active anymore, so he's just an ambassador to them. So we'll see how Big Show goes. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Big Show went out on his back as per wrestling tradition. It seems like the wrestlers are always supposed to lose their last match to put over the other guys. So in this case, it did put over Braun Strowman because he was leading up the face at that time, Brock Lesnar, at the No Mercy pay-per-view. So kudos, Big Show. Hopefully we see you around again. I will jump this next news, sir. I'll put more in detail a little bit later when I go over 205 Live. But Kalisto is apparently injured during this week's 205 Live show. For you guys who didn't watch the show, after the tag team match between Grand Metalik and Kalisto taking on Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick, somebody threw a water bottle at Kalisto. And it really did hurt him because he got stitches, a possible fracture. I'll explain more of that in detail when I go over 205 Live. Jeff Jarrett, who reportedly completes his sponsored rehab from WWE. So basically, you guys don't know, Jeff Jarrett, who basically made TNA, he got into rehab, I guess, after the whole deal between Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, and Anthem, all that. I guess he just went off. And WWE, for those guys who don't know, WWE actually has a rehab program that WWE sponsors, and Jeff Jarrett went through it, and he completed his stint there. And Karen Jarrett, she said today's a big day for real Jeff Jarrett and his family. I want to say how proud I am of him, and thanks to WWE for their help. So it's interesting that they even help. Well, see, again, it goes to show that Vince McMahon and just WWE as a whole, they are forgiving of superstars who even did them dirty or just whatever. So I'll see where Jeff Jarrett goes from here. I mean, Gold Force Wrestling's done because back to Impact. Where does Jeff Jarrett go from here? I doubt he will ever come to WWE. And why would WWE want him? It seems like all he does is just cause problems. So kind of like Hulk Hogan. But yeah. And one of the bigger stories here is the rumored return of the XFL. Well, not specifically XXL, but something along the lines of that. I completely forgot what the name was, but Vince McMahon is pretty much in talks of just bringing back the XFL or just a football sports league. Because he's basically making a new business, which is called Alpha Entertainment. He already took out, if for guys don't realize this is true, now he already took out mostly all of his stock, 3 million or stock or shares from his company just to fund this. So he is very, very serious about this. For those guys who know, XFL is like a failed football league that Mr. McMahon tried to run to compete against the NFL. So that failed miserably. Actually cost WWE and NBC a ton of money. But this time, Mr. McMahon's going to try it again. But it will not affect WWE whatsoever because he's using his own money to fund it. He's opening up a brand new business and specifically for this and other sporting or entertainment aspects besides wrestling. So yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. I guess it's hard to say how this is going to go. I mean, apparently, which again, I don't watch football. The National Football League or NFL, their ratings have been down compared to other years. So I guess Vince McMahon saw this as, you know what, I guess it's time for something different. And he's going on for it. We'll see how times has changed. Whether for Vince McMahon it's time for change for the better for him to start his own football league again or not, we will see. But I don't know. As long as this doesn't affect WWE as a whole, like you lose money out of it, this does fail. I say I don't want it to fail, but I don't know how we really don't know much about it. I guess we'll find out more probably come early January in the new year. So we will see. We will definitely see. That's all I can say. Just keep an eye on that. But basically, the XFL or the revival of it under a different name will be something. The rumored names for the WWE Hall of Fame class 2018 has been passing around, and here are the current people. These are all rumors, not necessarily true. Goldberg, which would make sense. I mean, he just appeared in WWE again this past year, so I don't see why not. Bam Bam Bigelow, yeah, I don't see why not. Ivory, perfectly fine. The Dudley Boys, yeah, that makes sense because both of them, I guess, I know Devon works backstage with WWE and Kid Rock. Yes, Kid Rock. If you guys don't know Kid Rock, he does basically multiple D songs with WWE pay-per-views. And he actually wrote the Undertaker American Badass song. Or he was the theme, or I should rephrase that. His song was used for the Undertaker's during his American Badass run. So why not? So out of all these names, the only one they heard of that are like really close to possibility are the Goldberg and Dudley Boys. They also know that Batista is in early talks of a Hall of Fame, but it might not happen due to the fact that he is very, very interested in coming back to the WWE to compete for one more run. So we'll see where that goes from there. And speaking of Batista, let's talk about that. Batista WWE updates. He is very serious about a WWE run. Some notes from Dave Meltzer from Wrestling Observer, basically saying, at one point, Batista was being talked about for 2018 Hall of Fame class, but that honor was delayed if he decides to come back for one more run in WWE. Batista is very serious about a return to WWE for another in-ring run. Batista's next run could be a lengthy 6 months to 1 year. It's not something he needs to do, but rather something he wants to do. If he signs a WWE deal, any movie projects that get offered to him while under contract, WWE had to be negotiated with WWE. This can make the deal more difficult to put together. Batista has known in the past how much he likes doing house shows, so his next run would see him working more regular than other special attractions like Goldberg or Brock Lesnar. I mean, hey, more star power for WWE, the better. I mean, we can see him in a bunch of feuds that he's never been in before. Feud with Roman Reigns, who has the better spear. So there's that. Another feud with Triple H because why not? Just a bunch of new stuff. Him as Braun Strowman. All depends. That's assuming he goes on the Raw roster, which I feel like if they're gonna re-sign Batista, they're gonna put him on the Raw roster. It's like a bunch of different stuff he could do now. So the possibilities are endless with Dave Batista. And last but not least, Jinder Mahal was actually working injured for a while now. It was now known that Jinder Mahal revealed the fact that he's been injured for almost 2 to 3 months ago. And this happened ever since their tour in Japan when he fought Shinsuke Nakamura. So is that one of the possible reasons why he dropped the WWE title? I doubt it because he just worked the Class Champion pay-per-view, which we're actually about to go over right now. So yeah, so before I go over anything else, let's look at the comment section real quick. Oh, Black Area Gaming. You're saying Ricochet and War Machine. Yes, I did hear about Ricochet. I don't know who out of those two. I know who Ricochet is. I don't know who War Machine is. Is that like a tag? I heard that's a tag team. I don't know who War Machine is, but I heard Ricochet is coming to NXT. I did hear about that. We also heard. Well, I know we talked about this last week, but EC3 and By Last Year are also coming back as well. So, rumored. Nee Marie, what point have not seen discussed is the whole players like T-Bone. Oh, okay. So you're talking about the NFL. Well, the XFL, I should say. I don't know. Like I said, I really don't pay attention much to football. So I really don't. It's hard to see because this literally came out of nowhere. It turned to like one rumor one day about the XFL, and then literally just became, oh wow, this is actually happening because he has it now. He say out make a own business now, dedicated stuff like this. So, I have no idea. Could he sign college students? It's the possibility endless. I think we won't know, Nina, what's really going on until WWE's quarterly earnings, like investment meetings. Because then Vince McMahon always reveals stuff to their basically investors about what he's doing in the future. So I'm pretty sure, even though, again, since he started his Alpha entertainment business, I highly doubt like it'll be bringing much, but he's going to pretty much just sum up what his plans are in that company. So investors won't. I think the real issue is I don't think he wants investors to pull out day week and they feel like, oh man, he's going to do this again. But he want to assure that his investors that currently invested in WWE stock that, hey, this is whether this basically is a success or it fails, it won't have nothing to do with, like, it won't affect the WWE brand whatsoever. So it's hard to see. I'll say actually, if I may look that up for a second, when is the next WWE's next quarterly earnings? Meaning, if I can look it up. Okay, the fact that their last one was in October. Okay, hold on. If I had to take a wild guess, because if they're going by quarterly, it'll be obviously after December 31st. So we're actually coming up soon on it. So we should be hearing something very, very soon about it. So there's that. Any other news that I'm aware of? I don't think so. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. All right, I guess it's time for the reviews of the show. It's gonna be pulling up all my notes here, so all at once. All right, let's talk about the Smackdown Live, the final. First of all, the final pay per view of the year and the final Smackdown Live pay per view for the year as well. Clash of Champions, which was an event that took place in DD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, this past Sunday. It was a SmackDown Live exclusive pay per view where the main theme was every single title was on the line. So if I had to grade it from an A to like F rating, I would say B. It wasn't B minus, B minus. I'll say B minus. There was some stuff. There was some lows. I'm talking about you, women's championship match, and like there was some surprise factors. It was some it was a good show though. It shows SmackDown can put on a deep like the. I feel like the one thing this pay per view accomplished, in my personal opinion, is that it shows that the SmackDown, because people always say the SmackDown Live roster compared to Raw roster is like it's like apples to oranges. There's like no comparison, but it's like the superstar that they have on the SmackDown Live roster can put on a decent show, and the stories are there. Hell, in my personal opinion, the main match on the card wasn't even for the championship. So if it doesn't show you that WWE can't put, I mean, they should. If it doesn't show you that SmackDown Live can put on stories, then I mean, hell, even if it doesn't, they can put. That's the thing about SmackDown Live. They can make compelling stories even without evolving the championship, because evolving championship is half the story itself. So if you can actually make a story out of something, I feel like Clash of Champions delivered with that. So I didn't see the kickoff match. I yet to see the kickoff match. All I know is that Mojo Rawley defeated Zack Ryder based on what my brother told me. Yeah, based on what my brother told me, he has a new entrance. He's like, I guess he's throwing back to when he was in football or something. I have no idea. I don't personally, it wasn't, and it mattered to me, which is why I was on the kickoff show. This story. I mean, it's nice to see now both of them are separated. The Hype Bros are fine, I guess, on NXT, but that's the thing. Crap that happens on NXT doesn't really work on the main roster, and the Hype Bros, to be fair, I can't really bash the Hype Bros for that because Zack Ryder got injured. So we will really never know where the Hype Bros direction was actually going to go. Because if you guys remember, what you would call it, there was a number one contenders thing, and we completely missed out on it. Hype Bros won, but they never fought for the title. So we will really never know what came up from that. Just saying. So there's that. First match of the night, the first title defense of the night was the United States Championship. It was a triple threat match between Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Roode. The match, it was very good. It was a triple threat match. I mean, you have Dolph Ziggler. He's going to put on, despite his critics, he's going to put on probably the best match of the night if you give him time. Bobby Roode, obviously, he's been doing this for years, so there's not much to say there. Even it's probably day. For those who don't know, maybe you guys might not know this, but Bobby Roode is 40 years old. And I know he doesn't look like he's 40, but I mean, he's 40 years old and he could put on matches like that. He doesn't even look 40. Like, holy crap. And even AJ Styles is 40, but whatever. They've been doing this for years. They finally got their break on WWE, though, but they've been doing this for years. And Baron Corbin, I mean, I've always been a fan of Baron Corbin since day one. I've always been standing by him, despite his critics saying he's just like, he can't wrestle, he can't talk. I always stood by Baron Corbin, so I thought his run as United States champion was fine. When I say that because the winner of the match was somebody. The winner of the match was somebody I was not expecting at all. So yeah, Dolph Ziggler won. So hold on, I'm seeing a bunch of comics here. War Machine are a very popular and successful big tag team. Okay, so they are a tag team. So do you feel, well, my question is to you, Black Airy Gaming, is which brand do you think they're going to be going on? I don't know, because they didn't even bring up the Office of Pain yet. I feel like they would go to NXT then. He said Dolph Ziggler's winning the U.S. title. I know, it's like literally what the fuck. And Neiman Reese and War Machine's a very good tag team. Yeah, I agree with you. It was a B- show. Yeah. I have mixed. I have Mixed feel. Oh, come on. Corbin's not that bad. Black Area Gaming. He's not that. I mean, yes, he can. There is room for improvement. I'm not saying he's perfect. There's room for improvement, but like he's a good modern day heel for what he does. I know he can improve in terms of his mic work. I'm not saying he's the best wrestler in the world, but he's solid. He's more of a brawler than a wrestler, so it's like that's pretty much his character. He's not actually a wrestler. He just does it for like it's the character that he made and makes it work out. But yeah, let's talk about Dolph Ziggler winning. So at the end of the match, Baron Corbin was about to hit the end of days on Bobby Roode. At that same exact time, Dolph Ziggler hit the zigzag. So it was like a two-way finisher hit that just happened. Dolph Ziggler pinned Baron Corbin, and Dolph Ziggler is now the new United States champion. I guarantee people who betted that money, and I did hear from Wrestling Radio, nobody betted for Dolph Ziggler to win because Dolph Ziggler winning is just out of left field. It's ridiculous. Dolph Ziggler winning is just insane. Nobody expected that whatsoever. So the fact that he won, it really says something. And we're definitely going to talk about that segment on SmackDown that he did, which pretty much leads a lot of interesting scenarios that go with that route. I personally have a route they can go with, but I'll talk about that when I talk about my SmackDown review. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler winning the title. Nobody thought that was going to happen. But overall, despite that, I mean, again, Dolph Ziggler used to, before Dean Ambrose became a singles wrestler after the Shield, Dolph Ziggler was my favorite modern day superstar. I mean, my favorite superstar will always be Undertaker, but Dolph Ziggler was my favorite modern day superstar. But that was until Dean Ambrose became single wrestler. Then obviously Dean Ambrose is my guy now. So, yeah, Dolph Ziggler winning. But like that was just something else. So look at the comment section here. You're saying, yeah, poor Zack Ryder, Corbin. No, like I said, we both talked about it before. Most likely they're gonna be all going to NXT unless they're like a big name, I doubt War Machine, the tag teams like AJ Styles would just go to the main roster. So, AOP Sanity should put over War Machine before being called up and can feud with Undisputed Era over tag titles. Maybe next year's Rumble we'll see War Machine join Bray and turn on Harper Rowan for. Hopefully Bray Wyatt is still in WWE next year. I mean, I know he ain't going anywhere, but hopefully he still is. Well, we'll see. The next takeover is Takeover Philadelphia. Usually, I've started to realize every takeover is like the debut of somebody. So we will see what happens at Takeover Philadelphia. If the rumor names are here, Ricochet might appear. Tommaso Ciampa might come back. Again, as you said, War Machine. They could appear as well. So Dolph Ziggler winning title. Overall, though, I like the opening of the match. It was fine. Now let's talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. It was a fatal four-way. The Usos, New Day, Benjamin Gable, and Rusev A. First off, let's talk about how over Rusev is. I don't think the backstage had no idea how over this gimmick was going to be. And boy, were they surprised. They were the most over team in this whole damn match. I mean, the Usos and New Day got cheered, but it was if you guys didn't watch wrestling for the very first time, you would have swore Rusev and Eddie English were the good guys, and everybody else were the heels. You would have swore that was the case. Now, there were some issues with the match. For example, I'm glad for the first time, based on my knowledge, this is the first time when there was more than two teams in a match. At least one member of every team started the match, which makes perfect sense. I hate where there's multiple teams in a match and it's like a regular tag team match where it's like, okay, only two people are allowed in the ring, and then it doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad every team got to start off in the match because of the fatal four-way. So every team had the exact same chance of winning. My issues with that is For starters, that automatically makes it a no disqualification match due to the fact that it's a fatal 4-way. So by that logic, why was nobody using weapons? Why was nobody just saying screw it? The other tag partner just comes in. Why not? Like, it just didn't make. Why is it not a tornado tag? Like, there's a bunch of scenarios where it's like, okay, why did this happen or this happen? It makes you question that. And also, clearly, since this was the first time they actually done this, it was kind of sloppy the first 20 minutes. Like, well, not it wasn't even 20 minutes. Like the first, I'll say 5 minutes, it was weird because they didn't know what they were doing, clearly. So it was an interesting sight to see. I'll definitely say that. Overall, though, I mean, besides like them trying to get used to this whole Fatal 4-way match, I think it's the first time they ever did this. It was the end was the best part because it was like Rusev was clearly over. People thought when he had Big E in the accolade, it was over. Especially when Big E could get out of it, they thought it was over. Chad Gable showed what he can do by just suplexing everybody. Everybody. His strength is amazing. And at the end, the Usos did a super kick on Chad Gable, did the splash. Usos retained the SmackDown tag team titles. But I'm just saying, based on that reaction, Rusev and English should have won the match. So it is what it is. At least the one thing we got out of it was clearly obvious that Rusev is very over. Hopefully WWE doesn't ruin that. So we'll see where it goes from here. It's based on the issue with this week's. The only issue I have with this week's SmackDown, it was fine, but there was no story progression on anything. It's like they're saving that for Christmas or something, like the Christmas special, which is not even Christmas, the day after Christmas. On Tuesday, it's like there was no story progression. This was like a filler SmackDown episode. There was no story progression whatsoever. It was weird. Very, very weird. Yeah, Black Gary Game Happy Rusev Day. Yeah, it was. Rusev is very over, so yeah. Cheers to Rusev. Now let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Possibly the weakest points of the show. It was a lumberjack match between Charlotte and Natalya. All the lumberjacks outside of the match. Basically, how lumberjack matches go. If you get thrown out, the lumberjacks' jobs are supposed to put you back in the ring, but it's no qualification. So obviously, there's shenanigans there. This match was booked terribly. I don't know who thought this was I realized that for all this, they could have just made it. They might have just would have made a battle royal for SmackDown Women's Championship because a lumberjack match doesn't work because if you have like 5 heels and 1 face outside, how is that going to work? Naomi was the only face outside of the ring. The Riot Squad are clearly heels, and Carmella, Naomi, and Tamina are clearly healed. Unless they were trying to make, I felt like they was trying to make them the neutral group because they were attacking both Naomi and like the Riot Squad and whatnot. I guess they were trying to make them like neutral, but it was so weird because Charlotte just for most of the match, she was just starting just getting beat up outside. What the hell? Naomi was only one person. What the hell could she do? It was weird. This match was. I feel like whoever booked this match, they should have just made it either a one-on-one or just a battle royale for SmackDown title. It would make a lot more sense compared to this lumberjack match. I'm just saying. It was kind of weird. If they want a lumberjack match, they should at least wait until Becky Lynch at least came back. At least it'd be 2 faces, but 1 face outside the ring. Holy crap! That's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Charlotte retained. Again, nothing really to write home about this match because it was just so weirdly booked. Charlotte won, and it gets weirder because right after the match, I guess Natalya turned heel, despite the fact that she was already heel. I mean, she basically saying the crowd turned their back on me, so I'm turning my back on them. I don't know what's happening. I mean, she wasn't on SmackDown, so it's not like she retired or kayfabe quit or anything. It's weird. I don't know what they're doing with Natalya. Are they just now realizing she's face? I mean, well, like, was she a fake? Because she never was, in my opinion. She was already healed, so what are they doing? It was definitely weird. I could definitely say that. Um, but yeah, it was one of the more weaker parts of the show. So yeah, not really much to write about there. Oh yeah, thank you, Nate. I totally forgot about that because again, this match was just weird. Carmella, she did tease cashing the Money in Bank, which I even said I was like, I feel like she could do this. I did say that last week of the podcast. I was like, you know what? I feel like it's gonna turn to Carmella winning the title because she's gonna cash in through all the commotion. And there was commotion, and it looked like she was about to cash it, but it didn't even happen. So it was like that would be the only redeeming factor of that match because then they could write the story of Charlotte basically got screwed because of all this commotion, and Carmella took advantage of that. While everybody was just fighting everybody, and she pinned Natalia. That match would have made an automatic triple threat match. She pinned Natalia. She is now the new SmackDown Women's Champion by not even pinning Charlotte. And then you do a Charlotte and Carmella food. There you go. Up next, Up next was pretty much again like an 8-month build to this match, ended in a squash match. The Bludgeon Brothers defeated Breezango. Nothing really. It was a squash match. I mean, I love Tyler Breeze and Fandango to death. Their fashion battles are pretty much the best thing that he did on SmackDown in like forever. So it was like an 8-month build, and even the Ascension didn't even appear. Like, I feel like this match was filler because it was. They didn't even appear. The Blood Brothers basically squashed Breezango, and they cut a promo saying again the whole SmackDown tag team division basically put on notice. Nothing really much to write home about this. Like it was what it was. Like it was what it was. I do agree with you, Black Area Gaming, that it should have been like a 6-woman tag. The issue is that I feel like since Clash of Champions, like it was already so many. There was already, if you guys didn't know, there was 3 tag team matches in the show. That's a lot of tag team matches where the whole point of the show is supposed to be all the titles on the line. So I guess they didn't want to overcrowd because again, the whole focus was supposed to be the championships, despite the main story wasn't even part of the championship. But we're not gonna talk about that. But I don't necessarily agree that Harper and Rowan should have been on the pre-show because then that would have made Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder part of the main show, and that would imply that Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder are more important than Breezango, and I refuse to believe that. So, yeah, I don't know, man, about that one. We're going to talk about the main one, basically the main storyline of the pay-per-view, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton, with both Dan Bryan and Shane McMahon as guest referees. If Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would have lost, they'd been fired from all WWE. They can't go to Raw. They can't go to NXT. Nowhere. They're done. Now, Dave Meltzer and his co-host said it perfectly. The best way to describe this match. This match was fine. In terms of storytelling, this was probably the best storytelling match of the whole night because it wasn't focused. The tag team itself, the tag team match itself wasn't even important. The whole important factor was the special guest referees with Shane McMahon and Dan Bryan to see what they were going to do. In the beginning, it was kind of weird because they weren't even coordinating with the pins. Like Shane McMahon basically, okay, you stay on this side and I stay on that side. That didn't even happen. So there was that. But it was some good stories. Again, this match was good, not because of the actual wrestling. I can't even remember, besides Kevin Owens putting Shinsuke Nakamura through the table, I couldn't even tell you anything that happened in this match. I don't remember. Because the whole main point were the referees, which they did a good job of telling that. But yes, basically at the end, Randy Orton hit the RKO on Sami Zayn. It was pretty much over from there. Shane McMahon was happy. He counted 1, 2. Kevin Owens bumped into Dan Bryan, which made Dan Bryan fall onto Shane and break up the count. And Shane McMahon was furious, saying that was 3. Their jobs were done. What the hell, Daniel? Obviously, at the time, Shane Man didn't know if he did that intentionally or not. So when Sami Zayn went for the roll up on Randy Orton, Shane Man counted again. 1, 2, and then he stopped. He stopped. And that right there was perfect storytelling because basically, if Dan Bryan was not in that match, that's why what Dan Bryan did was the perfect thing. If he was not in that match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were already done from the very beginning. There was no way how they were going to win the match, thanks to Shane McMahon. So Dan Bryan said, "What the hell is your problem? You're a disgrace." So whatnot. They were going back and forth. Sami Zayn did the roll up again on Randy Orton, and Dan Bryan did the fast count. Shane McMahon was too late to stop Bryan, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn saved their jobs. Again, in terms of storytelling, best story told match of the night, hands down. In terms of wrestling, it was just the wrestling was the background of this match. Again, I can't even personally tell you one, besides Kevin Owens putting Shinsuke Nakamura through the table, I can't even tell you what else happened in the match besides the end, because the whole point of the story was Dan Bryan and Shane McMahon. I forgot his name for a second. And the main event, WWE Championship match, AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal. It was all right. I mean, they told a different story for once in terms of Jinder Mahal, where the Singh brothers had no interference whatsoever, which I guess is, from a story perspective, that's smart. Wait, you're saying Shane turned to his sister? Yeah, he did. That night he did. And yeah, and the fact that, well, yeah, I know it is. That's the thing with SmackDown. I think it's the same with both shows because Raw's kind of in that position right now because it's like Brock Lesnar. The difference is SmackDown has no excuse for it. Brock Lesnar's not there on Raw, so that's understandable how they have to do something. But for SmackDown Live, there's no reason why WWE Champion is not the main focus of the show. I get the reason why is because the long Jinder Mahal was a champion and he wasn't important, so they had to switch it up a little bit. But for SmackDown right now, AJ Styles is champion. There's no reason why he was not the main focus. Yes, y'all gave him the main event, but it was clearly obvious from the beginning that the main attraction was that tag team match. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal told a different story in this match where the Singh brothers, besides the very end, had no involvement in this match whatsoever. And this showed Jinder Mahal being, I guess this was their way of trying to put over Jinder Mahal as a credible heel. I doubt he's gonna be in the main event anymore, but this was just their final way of trying to put Jinder Mahal over. And AJ Styles, hey, he gave him a good match. AJ Styles could get a good match on anybody. So congrats to AJ Styles for that one. Styles won with the calf crusher because Jinder Mahal tapped out. Again, it was a decent match. He told a different story. Styles okay to Singh brothers at the end, despite them having no. Again, I feel like this main point of this match, because Jinder Mahal, his steam pretty much wore off. So I feel like the main point of this match was just to put him over as much as they can. Say, hey, he's a credible guy. So there you go. So yeah, that was Clash of Champions. And again, I would say a B-. It was the high points were obviously that story, the perfect storytelling in that tag team match. Those are a shocking win. Rusev being over now again, and AJ Styles retaining his WWE title. The low points were that ridiculous women's championship match, the squash match with Breezango, and it's like, yeah, other than that, I'd get a B-. It was a solid show for what it was. So SmackDown, I would have figured SmackDown would have been the place where we would continue the story, but this SmackDown was pretty much filler. You're saying I feel like they are about to give someone next challenger. So my two Black Hair Games. So my two possibilities for who is the next challenger for a South League title, either Randy Orton, a heel Randy Orton, or Baron Corbin. That's why I feel like they took title off Baron Corbin. They either give the like Corbin fight styles, or a heel Randy Orton fight styles, because it's unless they're throwing us a curveball, I feel like the SmackDown main event for WrestleMania is going to be Styles versus Nakamura, I guess, which is why Nakamura didn't eat the pin this past Sunday, but that's just my personal opinion. Let me go to Raw real quick. So Raw took place. Duck Donut Center, and Providence, Rhode Island. The main attraction was really Brock Lesnar's announcement, and we'll talk about the first female Royal Rumble match when we get to that, because that was something else. Opening of the show, Kurt Angle came out discussing the results of last week's show, because again, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Kane, Jesus Christ, Braun Strowman and Kane fought to a no contest to determine the number one contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship. So Kurt Angle said, you know what? Triple threat match. That's what we're going to do at the Royal Rumble. So now it's official. Triple threat match between Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Kane for the Universal Championship. That is so weird. Why is it not a fatal four-way? Why don't you involve Finn Balor? It's... I guess Finn Balor's not over enough, I guess. It's weird. Kurt Angle immediately got out of the ring once Brock Lesnar got in, and after he announced the match, all three of them brawled. At the end, Brock Lesnar did F5 to Kane. As Brock Lesnar was going near the ramp, Kane did his sit-up, his traditional sit-up thing after he's knocked out, just putting fear in both Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. Fine opening. Anything with Brock Lesnar probably is fine, but it's just weird how this is just a triple threat match, and it's obvious that Kane's gonna eat the pin. Then again, I thought Dolph Ziggler was gonna eat the pin at Clash Champion, and he ended up winning. So, Kane, you might be next Universal Champion. We had what was supposed to be originally Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. It instead became Seth Rollins versus Jason Jordan. And Seth Rollins, because Jason Jordan said he wants a shot at Samoa Joe. Seth Rollins says he wants a shot at Samoa Joe. Samoa just, hey, guess what? You two can fight, and I'll just fight whoever wins. And Seth Rollins wasn't having that. Jason Jordan pushed him to the ground. So they had a match. It was a fine match. Again, man, this whole Jason Jordan story is something else. Are they gonna turn him heel? Like, what are they gonna do? It's just so weird. At the end, Rollins won, but Samoa Joe choked out both him and Rollins after the match, which will lead to eventually the 6-person tag match, which had a lot of stuff happening. And sadly, it revealed something to all of us, which I'll talk about. But yeah, overall with that segment though, it was fine. But yeah, this whole Jason Jordan thing, I don't know when it's gonna end, but hopefully it ends soon. Finn Balor and originally it's supposed to be Finn Balor taking on, I believe, I don't remember which one was it, Bo Dallas or Curtis Axel. I don't remember. It doesn't matter, because this is what Finn Balor is doing, I guess. There was one silver lining. He Daily Tommy debuted and helped out Finn Balor, which is kind of funny because this is literally how Finn Balor debuted in NXT when he showed up to help out. Yes, of course. Hold on, guys. Black Area Gaming is asking to join the podcast. Talk about the Women's Royal Rumble. So, all right, we can do that. I'll see you in invite, man. No problem. Just give me 1 second. All right, man. I sent you the invitation, so. All right. So I guess while we wait, are you in, man?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, I can hear you. So if I can hear, I'm pretty sure the crowd. I mean, well, I'm pretty sure they can hear you. So I said the crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they can hear you. So what's up, man? Surprised you're up.
Yeah. Well, nothing to do.
So right now I was currently on. So what are your thoughts about the whole Finn Balor situation in general? Where it's obvious that he's not even in the talk of a Universal Championship picture.
It's disgraceful. Balor deserves so much more, and I love so much Finn's trolling of Vince on Twitter, like especially with the Thanksgiving. I'm not over cooking the turkey yet. That's just spectacular.
It's brilliant.
But it's outrageous when you hear the reactions that he gets. I don't get how Vince doesn't see that he's I don't get how Vince thinks that he's not over.
He's the only person right now on that roster can literally manipulate the crowd just by putting his hands up. Everybody does it. You can't tell me anybody else does that.
It's just, it's baffling.
It's weird. It's so weird. But yeah, so Finn was fighting the Mr. Raj, and like I said, Hideo Itami made his debut. He wasn't supposed to debut until the next night, but he's probably made his debut tonight. I guess for the hardcore fans, it was just a throwback to NXT when Finn Balor debuted. Yeah. So I guess they was trying to just replicate that. So he actually had a tag team match. So
I really like the way Hideo debuted. As I said, it was a callback to when Finn first debuted in NXT, and it was that cool kind of thing. Like we've talked about before, how they really need to try and break down the barriers between the cruiserweight division and the main roster.
I'm starting to realize like they are doing that.
Yeah,
which is fine. I do. And I think that's perfectly fine because the fact that Hideo could, well, to be fair, Finn Balor is a cruiserweight, but we're not going to talk about that. But it was just cool to see Dale just fighting people that are not in the cruiserweight division. So I guess they're trying to show him how this is a big deal guy. So kind of like so that's one way of putting him over. So yeah, obviously they won, and Hideo, his story continued on 205 Live. So any thoughts on this before we move on?
Not thinking of all I've got left to say is welcome to the main roster, Hideo. I hope that you have more luck than you did in NXT.
Yeah, because
I swear to God, if you treat Hideo bad as well,
I don't think it's even really the treatment. It's just hopefully he doesn't get. I'm not trying to say it'd be funny. Just hopefully he doesn't get injured, because I feel like this time if he does get injured, it's like 3 strikes and you're out. I mean. I hate to say it like that because, like, again, if he gets injured again, obviously people get injured. I'm not saying he can never get injured again, but like this quickly, it's gonna have a hard time. Why are we keeping this man? That's gonna be the issue. And I don't want that to come. But
I've got my fingers crossed that, unlike with Emma, Triple H is adamant, like, no, I don't give a shit. We're not releasing Hideo.
Exactly.
I fought too hard to keep him.
I know. They had how many years invested into this guy even when he was that's why it's gonna be weird. But so then we finally had the number 1 contender champ for the cruiserweight title match, because it got delayed a week because of the whole Rich Swann situation. Say Alexander versus Drew Gulak. The winner earned the right to challenge Amore for the cruiserweight championship. I don't like the decision that they did in this match. It should have been Drew Gulak. I'm sorry.
You think?
It boggles my, either the story changed because Rich Swann got whatever, but I feel like there's more of a story to be told with Drew Gulak and Enzo Amore, because this could be the way for Drew Gulak to turn face, because it's like, hey, this is the man that keep preaching for a better 205 Live. And you want to know why it's not getting better? Because of Enzo Amore. And it's like Drew Gulak could see that, and it's like, holy crap, what am I doing? And then they could turn on him, and then he could turn face and fight for what he actually believes in, which is the cruiserweight division, 205 Live. It's not getting any better as Enzo Amore is champion.
Well, by that logic, before he got injured, surely then...
especially with the whole storytelling. What they did with Tony Nese, did you see that on 205 Live?
I haven't seen that, no. But I was going to say, if you're going at that route, then surely it would have made more sense to, before he got injured, to have Noam Dar get the number contendership and turn face, because for the entire time before Enzo came to 205 Live, it was all,
The whole Noam Dar and Sega Alexander
yeah,
thing. No, yeah, you're right.
No, yeah, Dar, no, not that, but Dar was going, yeah, Enzo, just get the fuck out. You don't belong in this division.
Well, I guess because since they knew Noam Dar was injured, I guess they knew they couldn't go with that route. So it is what it is with that. But was he even part? I don't think he was a part. Was he a part of that Fatal 4-Way? The first Fatal 4-Way match, he was, wasn't he? It was. I remember specifically being. It was Rich Swann, Akira, Avaria Davari. Somebody's drawing a blank in my head. It was either Grand Metalik. It had to be Grand Metalik.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think Noam Dar was even in it. I think they knew he was injured. So
I mean, you know me, mate. I've maintained this entire time that Dar has been as great as he is. He's been treated like shit the entire time in the Cruiser division, like most of them, as we've discussed before. But him specifically, just
yeah. I know because he carried that whole stupid Alicia Fox storyline, but he carried that fucking storyline for the longest. And it's just weird how he was treated, but. Yeah, I mean, Sega Alexander winning's fine because it's nice to see somebody else finally get a shot at the Cruiserweight title, but it should have been Drew Gulak. Just because the way the story has been told, it just looks obvious that Drew Gulak is going to turn face and turn on Enzo. But I thought this was the route he was going to, because if you listen to the commentators, they kept saying, so Drew Gulak, if you win the match, are you going to lay down for Enzo Amore? And he always dodged the question. Because I kept wondering, well, is he? Will he?
Also, I mean, the thing is, if out of all of them, out of the guys that have been in on that, I hate the name of it, the Zoe train. God, that just makes me want to put a bullet through Enzo's eyes. But it's just like Tony Nese is the narcissist. He's the guy going, oh, you know, look at my body, I'm incredible. You've got Davari, who's just been stuck there for no reason. Yeah. Gulak seems to be playing the good trooper, playing the guy who's actually meant to be the mate of Enzo. And you've got Dar, who I swear every time I see him in that role, he's just like, kill me, just send me back to him.
They basically got all the heels with the exception of Gallagher and Kendrick, because they knew they were doing something else with them and just put them all together.
Is TJP no longer heel?
So it's interesting. He's still here. It's just they have the reason why. It's funny because a recent article came up about that. Basically, they just have no story line plans for him, which is why he's not being used.
Why does that not surprise me?
It's the same reason why up until now, Grand Metalik wasn't being used at all.
Yeah.
Up until now with Kalisto and whatnot, because they had no storyline plan. It's weird. How do you not have storyline plans for the inaugural Cruiserweight champion? Makes you wonder that he was never supposed to win the fucking tournament in the first place.
Because we know that before, because it was either I think they decided it was either going to be Zack Sabre Jr. or Kota Ibushi, but they hadn't signed contracts, which to be fair, they must look at it now and think.
In hindsight, no, I don't want to put it like the way I compare what we got now in the Cruiserweight division, what we got in Cruiserweight Classic is like the Cruiserweight class. We had the A squad, but now this is just the B squad.
Even though it's
before Neville showed up, I know it's the same, but it's like obviously I feel like they had more plans with either Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi because despite whatever, they were more of a name than the rest of the guys, in my personal opinion. So I feel like they would have did a lot more with those two. I'm not saying, well, obviously you have Brian Kendrick back and whatnot, but besides Brian Kendrick, could you name any other superstar you would have recognized?
Gargano, Ciampa.
Well, but they're not. But they were still in NXT though. I'm talking about in this division. It's like nobody else is recognizable.
Well, it really depends what market. Like for the casual WWE audience who just watch, Raw and SmackDown and maybe NXT. The occasional time, Gargano and Ciampa. Oh yeah. But for guys like you and I who watch the indies, like I knew of Gallagher, I knew of Dar, I knew of I think it was Grand Metalik. There are a few more guys in that tournament. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see his matches on the big stage.
I mean, I knew who Perkins was because I knew he was the Suicide guy back when he was in TNA, but I knew who Swan was. Obviously, I knew who Brian Kendrick was. Obviously, Tommaso and Ciampa, and we knew who Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. was based on their previous things. But again, everybody else, they were. I'm not saying they were no names, but they obviously weren't up there to recognizable names. So it's like what we got now, but before Neville came back, it was like.
Look, let me just clarify something that I said. Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. say, "Thank fuck I dodged a bullet." What I mean is that if they were in the cruiserweight division, as you and I both know, they would have had a glass ceiling. Now, because they're in Japan, because they're I think Ibushi's occasionally wrestling in the States. Zack Sabre Jr.'s here. He's in Japan. He's in England. There's no ceiling that will stop them. But if they're in the equivalent division, as we discussed before, it's like there is that glass ceiling. I
agree with you to a point. The reason why, because there's clearly some exceptions. I mean, look at Enzo Amore. Despite him being in the cruiserweight division now, you saw him. He fought the Miz. I mean, he had that brief deal with the Miz, and now he's part of that mixed match challenge, which is pretty much everybody not in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
So it's like there's not like this. So I feel like it's not a glass ceiling so much as if they want to use you for more, they would. But I personally feel like they would have used Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi more than what they're doing with these people. But hey, it is what it is, and I have to congratulate at least Dewey for sticking with. They could have canceled this division from the very beginning. They stuck with it for a whole year now, and at least we got, even though they barely get any, it's sad they don't get any reactions and whatnot for the most part, besides a few, like Akira gets some reactions. Enzo, obviously, I don't count Enzo because he's someone coming, like Neville coming from already established, just down to a different division, so I don't count Enzo, but like people like Goulet's getting some pops now, and like, so they're making established people. So what are your thoughts? Actually, let me ask you something. What are your thoughts on this whole 205 Live tour?
It's about time. I mean, if they're finally actually going to make some money from live events, which they've not been doing since the cruiserweight division started, it's good for the guys in the division. But I maintain that the thing that they should do with that division is, I mean, because I've said to you that maybe it's time to cut the losses and kill it, but I mean, I've really had to think about it.
I don't think they should
keep it around, but move it. Don't have it after Smackdown.
Well, it's clear
have it before, because the crowd are tired out. The crowd
is going to make 205 Live come out 10:35. It's going to make 205 Live come out 10:35, and it's like you're killing them.
That's what I mean. Move it before SmackDown Live, then you get the crowd pumped up with some high flying, intense.
The issue with that, I don't think we call it 205 Live anymore. It won't be live.
Oh well, it's
I know, but it's like they kind of put themselves in that corner. So the only way I can see, like, the way of, like, they could put it. I say this, but I guess there's clearly a contract between NXT and Full Sail because they only can tape there a certain amount of days. Just fucking do it there. The only issue I see with that is that the writers will have to know what they have to put on Raw before they show it, like on that Wednesday. Let's say they air it on Wednesdays. Like, that's gonna be the only issue. It's gonna be miscommunication. I
mean, and the also thing is because if you were to put it on NXT, I would take it completely out of Monday Night Raw. The problem is you then extend NXT to probably end up extending it to 2 hours.
No. I'm not saying. I'm not. No. So to clarify, I'm not saying put it with NXT. I'm saying just put it in Full Sail. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, don't put it in with NXT. Just put it in Full Sail, because at least that crowd would actually give a damn based on the Cruiserweight Classic. They would actually give a damn. I know it's like a downgrade to them, but it's like, hey, you're getting the respect that you guys actually deserve. In my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you did that, I mean, do what you're saying, move exclusively to because if to me, if you're moving it anyway, you've got to get it out on Monday Night Raw because then being in Monday Night Raw, they're usually in that bridge between the 2 and the 3 hour mark where people are fucking tired. Take it out of there completely, save their careers while you still can, put it in Full Sail Arena. I know it makes it a bit more inconvenient for us as wrestling fans, but have it air on Thursdays because you've got nothing going
It's
on
funny that you
Thursdays.
mention that because
Superstars are
my
scrapped, main
205
events
Live,
scrapped.
my 205 Live Universe Road airs on Thursdays, and I purposely put it there because I was like, it makes sense to me. Why put it after fucking Smackdown? So I feel like Thursdays makes the most sense because it's like you have your Raw on Monday, SmackDown Live on Tuesday, NXT on Wednesday, and 205 for fuck's sakes. And that's my issue. Unless maybe, and I think this is a long shot, right? But I feel like the purpose of this 205 Live tour thing. Now, you can't tell me you cannot see them going this route. I feel like the whole purpose of the 205 Live tour thing is to see which buildings they can generate an audience. So eventually, I'm not saying come 2018, but eventually they will let 205 Live literally be its own thing. Like the Cruiserweight division won't be on Raw anymore. The only way you could, yes, they'll still be part like the pay-per-view, like the Raw pay-per-view, but the only way you're gonna see the Cruiserweights is on 205 Live. Like I feel like it's gonna get to. Now this is a long shot, but I feel like they're doing this tour to see which places and cities they can generate an audience for this division, so they can actually produce the show in those areas.
I mean,
and then I put it on. Like, I know it's a long shot, but
it's a very cynical view. But what I'll say is, to me, I've already said they should. I've already said that initially my thought is they should probably kill it. I honestly think I've honestly got a feeling that 2018 might be do or die for the Cruiserweight division.
Well, this tour thing
in terms of the main roster, because I mean, and you're right, that might be why they've put it in like this coming year to try and see what buildings they can. But I've got a feeling because it's been, I think, in terms of the most viewed stuff on the network, it's been like down at like 20th below stuff like Bring It to the Table and stuff like that, which is just like.
Hold on. I don't know. No, I mean, continue to talk. I'm gonna actually look that up.
It's something like that. But I know that there's always been talk that 205 Live has been one of the lowest viewed things on the network, and obviously it's been slightly skewed because stuff like NXT has also dropped down from where it used to be. But it's definitely dropped down or definitely a lot lower than a lot of other stuff. Like I think Legends with JBL is higher, I think, than 205.
So here's the thing in terms of viewership of this week in general. So in this week in general, the top things, which is weird, as of this list, as of this week, the top things that were viewed, the top 5 things were NXT this past episode. NXT will always be number 1.
Yeah.
Then it was This Week in WWE, which is the recap show. It was NXT from last week for some reason, and then it was 205 Live. And then you get all this random shit.
Yeah.
Actually, let me get more of a. Hold on.
I was going to say, I'll quickly search up
viewership. If I can. Where do people be getting like these ratings from? Like, where do they get it from? So then I can
WWE themselves put them out a lot of the time.
Hold on, let me see. Actually, fuck it. 205 Live.
I think I've just found one from the 16th of November. So, so if you have a look, so I said,
can you actually link it to me? Can you actually link it to
me? I'll just read them out. So the first one is the WWE 24 with Bill Goldberg. Then it was NXT from that week's NXT, I think. Week before's NXT. Then it was NXT from Secret to Sensation, a home video preview.
Yeah.
Then TLC. Then Ride Along with the Hardys and Axel and Dallas. Then it was Survivor Series 2016 in 6th. 7th was Ride Along with the Shield, Bailey and Sasha. 8th was Table 3 with the Shield. 9th was WrestleMania 33, and 10th was 205 Live from that week.
Could you send me a link to that? I just want to see this myself. You can I don't know what you're using, but you can go to the messages here on our chat.
I just put into Google most watched most watched network program, but see if I can find the chat there. There we go. That's the link I found with the one for the 16th of November.
Okay. All right. And you see, well, do you see this what this list tells me? Because let's think about this for a second. Why the hell are people still watching TLC more than Survivor Series? If Survivor Series came before TLC.
But that's the same question we asked. Why are people watching Survivor Series from last year compared to 205 Live? That's what I'm saying. That's shows the problems with 205 Live.
Well, because the issue with 205 Live is that not only does it come after SmackDown, but it's like they're a Raw division. Why the fuck? Let's just pretend like brand loyalty was a thing. Let me just put let's pretend like SmackDown, Raw were completely separate entities. Why the fuck are 205 Live in the same building as SmackDown? First off, and second off, why is it at 10 o'clock? People barely watch the freaking. People barely watch Raw after the third hour.
It's
like,
you're right. It's a weird thing. I mean, especially the fact that on the network you've got to wait till 10 o'clock because obviously they don't show SmackDown because they've got the agreement with USA.
Exactly.
You've got to wait till 10 o'clock, and that's why I think a lot of people aren't. I mean, to me, the logical thing to do, and this would potentially take money away from their TV deal with USA, is say to them, look, we're gonna be showing this exclusively with you, with USA Network, with Sky Sports, and some other places. Yeah. However, we will air it on the network
the next day, or at least the next day.
No, have it streaming on the network. However, have Raw and SmackDown on the network that day, like stream at the same time as it would on TV, but do what they still do, and that's that each Raw does not get put onto the network for a month because obviously the back catalogue with the USA Network.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's where you probably that's the better way to do it.
Here's my thing with NXT. 205 Live. NXT is proven that something like 205 Live can work because not to downgrade NXT, but let's face it, as far as the casual fan is concerned, NXT is a bunch of no-name people. But surprisingly, it was always the number one show on the network in terms of viewership every week. It's not impossible. This formula is not impossible to accomplish here. It's not impossible.
Here's the thing, though, is that there's 1.5 million subscribers to the WWE Network, and Raw and SmackDown get about 2.2 to 2.3 million minimum. So
that's like half
each week.
Yeah, so it's like around half.
So you got about 1 million less, around 1 million less, depending on how much you get per week. Watching that 1 million are the casual fans. The other casual fans watching the network. However, most of the time, the 1.4 million are hardcore fans, like who will watch NXT, but will also go back and watch stuff like Smoky Mountain Wrestling or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so that's why I personally, because let's face it, because you were saying how 205 get canceled, but you really think Vince McMahon would allow 205 Live go on tour if he had plans to cancel it? Anyway, so it's like that's why it's like this is like these live events are gonna prove something. It's either 205 suffering because of its general reception or because the pointless time slot. Because if they can draw a decent crowd, then it's not them. It's just you got to take it off at 10 o'clock. That's the issue. If they can draw a crowd, then it was never them to begin with. It's the fucking time slot that's up making them suffer.
I'll put it this way: I've got a feeling Triple H has got a lot, because there's always been that thing where everyone's like, "Oh, until it came out a few months ago, Vince has got control of every part of programming apart from NXT." I've got a feeling Triple H has got, because it turns out Triple H has got a hell of a lot of control over SmackDown Live, and Vince is basically hands off. The only thing he controls now is Monday Night Raw. I've got a feeling this is Triple H's idea to try and save it, because I've got a feeling that Triple H and Stephanie are like, right, shit, how do we save this division? Because Vince obviously doesn't give a fuck about it. I mean, that's evident by
all it
was
from the beginning for Vince McMahon was just a third. They could finally fill up the third hour with actually something.
Instead of replace like getting rid of the 25-minute opening promos of Monday Night Raw.
Exactly. So it's like
Shane's brought back off of SmackDown.
But yeah, so it's like it's hard to say with this. Like again, I enjoy the Cruiserweight division because it's something different. Yes, their stories could be better, but at least they're trying. Austin Aries said a while ago when he was still part of the Cruiserweight division, nothing is like it literally just started, but this was before even a year was up. They literally just started. You had to let them establish themselves first, and you had to give it time. You can't just expect this to be overnight. NXT wasn't overnight.
I mean, that's the thing. I think that maybe,
and I think that's the issue with 205. They're not really giving me a chance. Again, NXT came out in 2000. The Triple H's NXT came out in 2012. They didn't start to get noticed till 2014, 2 years later, almost 3 years later, 2015. I should really say.
I mean, I think that obviously the whole thing with 205 Live was trying to build on the excitement and hype that had come off of the Cruiserweight Classic. But the thing with that is that then, again, you said Triple H knows this firsthand. It takes years to build a promotion properly.
Yeah,
and honestly, I mean, this is it's a different situation
because they're already on the main roster.
No, I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say is potentially that, but I was going to say because there's not a guy like Dusty, because there's not a guy like Dusty when he was in NXT, because Dusty has always been like heralded as the guy who got so much out of these incredible performers. He turned these incredible performers into complete wrestlers, and it's, I think, because there's not that kind of person overseeing 205 Live, it really causes the cruiserweights a problem. I mean, if, for example, Dean Malenko, if Triple H said, Dean Malenko, for the next few weeks, I want you with the cruiserweight guys, helping them improve, basically turning 205 Live into a pseudo kind of developmental thing, where these guys are developing and are improving before they then move on to the proper Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live.
Exactly, yeah. Essentially, and I hate to say this, 205 Live is essentially ECW, their version of ECW right now. Because this is literally what happened with ECW. It was at the 10 o'clock slot right after SmackDown. In theory, it was after SmackDown because SmackDown was taped on. The difference was SmackDown was taped on Tuesday, it aired on Thursday. Where it's like, why are they not doing that with 205 Live? It makes zero sense. Like it doesn't, like 205 Live doesn't. You can tape, for God's sakes, tape 205 Live. At least that way, when you tape it, guess what? You can edit it. So even if the crowd was like booing or whatever, we don't have to know that. And I think that's really the issue, where it's like we know the general crowd reaction is live. So it's like, even I'm not trying to hide it. I don't want people like to hide what's actually happening, but it's like you could do a lot more of editing. The reason why Cruiserweight Classic worked so well, there was really no story in the Cruiserweight Classic. What worked was the fucking video packages and stuff. We got to know these people through a fucking tournament.
What I'll say is that, I mean, here's a genius idea. If they want to keep it in that just death 10 o'clock slot, how about they just do this? Film it early.
Film before SmackDown comes on, yeah.
Yeah, because then it's still technically live because it's on the time slot you're saying, and it's on the same day, all that kind of stuff, which fights against the problem they had with SmackDown years ago when it was taped Tuesday, aired Thursday, because then leaks would get out. Now it would be like, yes, leaks would still get out,
but who cares?
But it wouldn't be as big a problem.
For example, like that doesn't matter in NXT. It's still the most viewed thing on network. Like we know what fucking happens in NXT a month before it actually happens, but that clearly doesn't matter because we still watch. So it's like, again, the whole leaking thing is not even really the issue. And they could tape it on Tuesday and air it on Thursday. I don't think that's really the issue here. The issue is it's like that stupid 10 o'clock slot where they think people are gonna fucking watch something at 10 o'clock. If you just made me sit through 2 hours of your second main show, you didn't want to care about the other one. Like it's so frustrating to me because it's like these guys are. I can tell they care because it's not like they're phoning it in. Drew Gulak, Drew Gulak in recent, like the past couple months, Drew Gulak has been like the perfect character on 205 Live. He's into this stupid character that they gave him, and it's working for him. It shows that he cares. A lot of people care. It's just you just got to make the fans care. The hardcore audience somewhat cares. Like I wouldn't be even mentioning them if I didn't care.
I'll put it this way: the hardcore fans would care if you put, I don't know, fucking AJ Styles in there with a broomstick. They'd watch it because it's AJ Styles. It's this guy who's had an incredible match with Shinsuke Nakamura in the Tokyo Dome.
It's like
it's the casual audience that is. I'm not going to say the problem.
They're not the problem, but they are the problem. But they're not the problem.
I'm not saying the problem, but it does slightly cause this because they're trying to go for the casual audience, which is understandable. They're a bigger portion of the audience. It's just struggle to try and fit what the hardcore want and what the casuals want as well.
I will say this: the one thing that this past year, at least what they learned, either they learned or they just got too fucking lazy. They learned not to change those fucking ropes to purple during Monday Night Raw. That's the one thing I will give them because it shows that, hey, this is part of Raw. Like the whole changing the purple rope shit was.
It was such relief when that happened. Like when I first saw, oh my god, they haven't changed the color of the ropes.
Yeah, first I thought it was by accident, but then there was obviously no, it wasn't. It showed that they're part of the show. Thank you. Well, I feel like the damage was already done, but. It's not impossible. It's not impossible to have a division on the show. And people, for example, during the original brand split, SmackDown had the Cruiserweight title. They had Cruiserweight division. It was fine. So it's not impossible. So it's like it's not impossible. It happened before. It's just you have to execute it. Well, back then, wasn't Paul Heyman writing SmackDown anyway? Paul Heyman was the writer.
Which years we talking?
Like 2002 to 4. I feel like Paul Heyman was the writer.
I think it was Stephanie and Heyman. I think
they were the writers, right?
Yeah, I think.
Well, so. Paul Heyman, obviously, I made it work anyway. So it's like it's not impossible. So I mean, I'll just say this before we move on, though. God, we really have been on this long way. This tour, I wish I can go to these cities, but I don't live in none of these cities, so I can't even support them. But this tour will give us pretty much exactly what the general public feels about the Cruiserweight division.
I mean, here's what I'll say. I really hope Triple H takes notice of everything that's happened with the Cruiserweight division, and I'm guessing right now this is his biggest failure in control of WWE. And I'm hoping he then learns from this.
I wouldn't consider it a failure because if it was a failure, they would have ended it immediately.
No, I mean in terms of right now how it is. Because right now in terms of compared to their vision, it's a failure. But yes. I'm hoping they take this into account and learn from their mistakes when they eventually come to enact the UK show. Because
I think
although the live audience, there won't be a problem with the live audiences because British fans will go to wrestling. But in terms of the network, I'm hoping they learn from these mistakes and don't, and so the UK show isn't as low down as 205 Live is every week.
And you know what? When the second mentioned that, maybe it made me think of something. maybe the cruiserweight division will be better off if it wasn't on Raw because I feel like that's what hurts 205 Live. I think in the casual audience eyes, they feel like 205 Live is just a recap of Raw, which isn't. Because there's some stories that you can only see on 205 Live. For a perfect example, this whole Jack Gallagher and Brian Kendrick story, it's only happening on 205 Live. You can't see it anywhere else.
No, I think the thing is that with the cruiserweights on Monday Night Raw, it's still, and again, I'm not trying to bash casual fans. If you're a casual fan of WWE, brilliant. You're a fan of WWE. I don't care how committed you are. However, I feel like from their point of view, it might be, you've got, Braun Strowman just destroying Roman Reigns, for example, and then there's a break where you've got these, instead of the big power wrestlers, you've got the smaller technicians and high flyers, and then after that you go straight back to the power wrestlers, and I think that kind of disconnect is a bit. I'm not going to say it's. I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. It's maybe a bit odd for some fans when maybe they're watching their first WWE, like they come back to wrestling after a while, and they're like, oh my god, oh my god, the Shield, the triple power bombs, the Miz through the table, and then they go to commercial, come back, and it's the cruiserweights. It's, I don't know, Cedric Alexander one-on-one with TJ Perkins.
It's like, what
and
the
then
fuck?
like Enzo,
I know they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then like Enzo running his mouth or whatever, or like Gulak walking around with his no-fly zone banner or whatever, and then like after that you get another commercial break, and you're back to, as I said, Braun Strowman destroying Kane or something.
There is one possibility that I know they won't do, but because let's be realistic. Raw will live with or without the cruiserweight division, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. You can even keep Raw to 3 hours. That's perfectly fine because it's shown for the past. I know, but it's shown for the past 3 years. Raw will live without the cruiserweight division.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. So that's perfectly fine. Make SmackDown 3 hours then, and just put the cruiserweight division on SmackDown because Raw is their A show. They don't need cruiserweight division. Bring something to SmackDown. I'm just saying by that logic, it makes sense because 205 Live is already in the same fucking arena.
From a business point of view, I get that. However, from a fan point of view, it's just like, I prefer SmackDown being 2 hours because although it's still 2 hours is a decent amount of time to sit down and watch a wrestling show, it's better than sitting down for 3 hours because
I know, but it's essentially
SmackDown is turning into
less. I know, but let's pretend like, in all honesty, and if you look at it from a bigger perspective, it is technically the third hour of SmackDown. It's just without any. They have no interaction with the cruiserweight. If you look at it from a bigger perspective, like as wrestling as a whole, it is technically the third hour of SmackDown.
I know, but it's again that disconnect kind of.
Yeah, I know, which they had no interaction with the ways, but it's like it's essentially. Again, that's my point. It's like, okay, Raw, okay, it's gonna live or die without it. So it's like just put them on SmackDown. I'm not saying the fans will care more, but at least they know, hey, the cruiserweights are part of SmackDown. So this you're still gonna have SmackDown, but the cruiserweights are on SmackDown now because like Raw's gonna live or die without the cruiserweight division. They don't fucking need it. So just put it on SmackDown. I'm not saying SmackDown either. It's just if I were like, say if I were like their marketing or like investor or whatever, if you're trying to sell me these cruiserweights, put them on a recognized brand. Clearly, putting it on their own brand right now isn't helping. Just put it on SmackDown because at least SmackDown is a recognized brand that people, for the most part, watch. In some cases, hell, remember it beat for 2 times in 2016. It beat Raw's ratings. So,
but it's what you're forgetting is that most of the guys in control of the actual show and the way it's structured are TV guys like Kevin Dunn. They aren't wrestling people. Like if you gave control to Devon Dudley or
somebody like that,
or
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because like the
Triple
person,
H or someone like that, if you gave a control to them, they'll be like, right, they'll try and do everything possible to help the cruiserweights. But the TV guys will be like, right, we're just going to stick this in here because we're being told to by Vince McMahon. We don't get anything about this wrestling thing. We're just going to put it in here because we want to like advance our careers and get onto movies or whatever the fuck.
yeah. So it's like, but yeah, just so final to summarize, to get out of this cruiserweight division thing, which is my apologies. It just we'll see. I hope this 205 Live tour thing is somewhat a success. If they can draw the same amount of, I feel like, at least in Triple H's eyes, if they can draw the same amount of crowds they can do a regular NXT house show, I think they would consider that a success.
Yeah.
But if they can't draw anybody, then I feel like if they could draw at least 500, like how much do NXT crowds usually draw? A live crowd.
Let me have a look. Let me see how big Full Sail is.
Because how NXT live shows be at freaking gymnasiums and stuff. So it's like I feel like if they can draw that type of crowd, I would say that's a success. If anything.
Let's find it. So people are saying about 400 to 500, depending on how it's set up. So probably about 500 people.
That's what I said. I figure so they can. So that's the goal. If they could draw at least 500 people, I would personally say that's a success. Because if you can draw NXT, if you could draw the same amount of members as an established brand that was happened like what 3 years, like 4 years, 5 years ago NXT. So if they could draw that many people and it just started a year ago, I feel like that's a success. So
well, that's another problem we can quickly mention before we move on to the women's segment.
Yeah,
is that, and that's another thing that's hurt the cruiserweights is that they're having to do it in front of crowds in arenas that hold about 10,000 people.
And it's like they're not really
and the Cruiserweight Classic was like part of its attraction was the fact it was in a really small arena.
Exactly.
Like the building on it.
And it's like that's why it's like it's so weird. Like that's why I always say it should be in freaking Full Sail. I mean, I don't know what type of contract Triple H has with Full Sail, but for fuck's sake, just put it in. I'm not saying put it with NXT, just put it in Full Sail.
Yeah, it seems like WWE have got exclusive access to Full Sail University or Full Sail Arena, because obviously you've got the Mae Young Classic, the Cruiserweight Classic, and NXT have all been based there in the last year or in the last 2 years.
So it's like we'll see. We will definitely see. But yeah, moving on. Asuka defeated Alicia Fox.
No one cares.
Got nothing right home about. Now here's one of the main things that's like it did a lot. It was a 6-man tag, Cesaro and Sheamus and Samoa Joe versus Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Jason Jordan. The match itself was whatever. It's just but it did show something we didn't know, that Dean Ambrose is injured. So during the match, Seth Rollins did a tope to his suicide outside the ring and accidentally hit Ambrose as well, which I'm assuming storyline wise he wasn't actually, because if he was really that injured, they would never be able to do the match. That was their way.
No. So storyline wise, from everything that Meltzer wrote, etc., they had like a padding over I think it was his right elbow, but that was actually covering up that when the next day when he went for a scan, he had a torn quam, I think they call it, and they said it was really off the bone. So from what I've read, he's going to be out until
I'm hearing 2 to 3 months.
March.
Yeah, that's why I said so. It's a possibility, unless he's John Cena healing. He could make it to WrestleMania.
It just happened to be mad rehab, and depending on what, because I got a feeling the match they wanted to put him in was probably with Trips.
Either Triple H.
The last 3 years, Triple H is face to face, and then the Shield.
Either Triple H or it's going to be a heel Ambrose versus a face Rollins. That's what they are going to do. But it's interesting though, because again, the way they did it, it's like it's a possibility. Because again, it was Seth Rollins who technically injured Dean Ambrose. And then Samoa Joe did the rest of the work. But remember who did the topes to Asita though? It was Seth Rollins. Not obviously on purpose, but so it's like there's an open door there for that. So yeah, I'm just saying. But regardless, so Shane Cesaro won. Then backstage, Samoa Joe attacked Dean Ambrose.
Ambrose and that writes him out.
And hopefully Dean Ambrose gets well. What did you think of Matt Hardy?
Another great segment from Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
I love Matt Hardy. He's so good.
The chest thing with the goldfish. That was hilarious.
I like the fact that I think it's his initial Woken promo is the most viewed video on WWE's YouTube channel for the past
couple years.
Yeah, I think the only video that gets close to it is Punk's pipe bomb from 2011. I think,
or the Braun Strowman flipped over that ambulance. I think.
Yeah,
that was the other thing that was close. But I do get your point. Yeah. And because they finally started to do it, they're finally cashing in, so at least they're doing it now. So it was a good promo though.
We've then got Final Beat Slayton and Rhino. I didn't even know that was a match.
The Revival are back, so that's good. At least they're back.
Yeah.
I'm glad they are back. There's one thing to point out during this match. It showed Dana Brooke with Tyson and Apollo Crews, so there's something going on there. But we'll see.
They're actually pulling the trigger this time. Told you that was teased ages ago.
Yes, so this is something now. We'll see where it goes. Oh, did you see the backstage segment with Heath Slater and Rhino?
No,
because basically. Kurt Angle didn't say he was going to fire him, but he was just basically saying that you guys need to toughen up in the new year. And Slater was like, what, are you going to fire us? I have kids. I have a pool. And Rhino said, relax, because I got something just the thing for you to help you out. So I guess we'll find out next week.
On Christmas Day, again, thanks USA Network, you bunch of pricks. Not giving the wrestlers Christmas Day and Boxing Day off.
Yeah. But, Elias stole the show here. So Elias came out. He cut a promo.
I thought it was.
I thought it was good. I'm a Elias Sampson fan, so I'm biased, but
yeah,
it was good because it's like, first of all, he announced himself as an entrant to the Royal Rumble match, so there's something there.
The thing I did like is when the women started coming down to the
that was hilarious. And that was the best part.
Who was it? Sasha and...
It was Sasha first. And Mickey, I'm sorry. Again,
it was Sasha and Mickey coming down to the ring. He's like, all the women want to walk with Elias.
Mickey, and Bailey walks out. Is it just me or does Mickey James look completely different now? I don't know what it is.
It's just a retire. She's no longer wearing the kind of.
Yeah, she looks completely different for like a couple weeks ago. Like holy shit,
wearing a kind of colorful tights that she wore years ago.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, because Elias said he was like, it ain't bad being me, and I guess the ladies wanted to walk with Elias too. It was funny.
The best bit is when he got out the ring, was walking up the ramp. Bailey offered the hug, and I'm not sure if you heard it. They got on the camera. Bailey was like, "That happens to me a lot."
Yeah,
like, poor Bailey.
And then so we get to the main part of the show, which was originally
because I'm really annoyed.
Yeah, I know. This was something. It was originally a 6-woman's tag between Absolution and Sasha, Mickey, and Bailey. The second segment show, both me and my brother said, it's obvious what's happening here. It's clearly obvious what's happening here. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what they did. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, though. Because the match went to a no contest. Nia Jax came out, tussled with them a little bit. That didn't work. And then the rest of the women's locker room came out. They all fought. Dana Brooke is fucking Superman. She can change clothes just like that. So
She probably did the Cesaro thing of just wearing a ring underneath.
Like, holy shit. In this segment, the one thing that it irritated me, but it was the most ridiculous thing. While they're all brawling, they all stopped because segment music played out. Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, it shows the same man. Like, yeah, I guess she's the queen bitch here, but it's like, why y'all stop fighting?
As I said, I need to go over this because I need to rant
about it, man. It's all yours, yeah.
Let's just start with the fact that first of all, it's fantastic this is finally happening.
Yeah.
The WWE are a decade behind. At this point, Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling have both got their own women's exclusive promotions, and WWE are finally getting around to doing a women's Royal Rumble. Fantastic, but as I said, it's a decade behind where they should be at this point. Secondly, the fact that Stephanie comes out and, again, just like crying out loud, it seems to be her and Triple H's egos. As good as they've been for WWE, their egos, you can't control them. They just want to be the center of attention. And the other thing is you've got all of the women's division stood in a line facing the hard camera, and you've got the faces and heels on each side, but they're just standing there.
Yes.
And then when Stephanie announces it, Paige is close to tears. It's like,
that's what bothered me. You're trying to keep
kayfabe for that. The entire
Thank you.
And everyone else. And then that point, we're smashing kayfabe apart because there's this incredible announcement that we've made, which we're a decade behind on. And that's when everyone just breaks character.
It's like, thank you. This was my main issue with this segment, because a month ago you told me that, oh shit, Paige is back and she's out with a vengeance. She bought 2 people from XT and she's just wreaking havoc. Now all of a sudden they're just all in a circle together saying, "Yay, we're girls, we did it." It's like, the fuck happened?
But
if I would have watched last month's Raw and just didn't watch Raw until now, I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, what happened to Paige as a character? But it doesn't end there, because obviously then Stephanie is like, yeah, let's celebrate, and has to motivate the crowd to start a yes chant.
Yes, I know.
It's like, are you kidding me? Oh my god, this is the thing that Brian kept fighting against in 2014, saying this manufactured bullshit. And it's the fact that the way it was just like everyone stood in a line and hugs and all that kind of thing. It
was so bad.
It was everyone just like nose to nose, about to full on scrap, because this is an incredible announcement. I am gonna win the Women's Royal Rumble match. Not oh my god, we finally got something that we should have had a decade ago instead of
all cheered and whatnot. And it's like, because you know the issue with this was, right? It was obvious the very next day. This sounded like a press statement. And holy shit, surprise, surprise, all the news media did it. And it was a fucking press release. That's what it was. Because here's my thing. You know what's been executed better? Here's how I would have done it, right? Here's how I would have done it. You would have had the 6-woman tag match. It could end disqualification. That wasn't even the issue. Then Nia Jax came out. Then the women's division came out for Raw. They all brawling. They're all over the fucking arena. People on the stage start brawling. Then Steph McMahon comes out, but they're all in scattered spots. They're not all in the ring in unison. Just stop what they're doing. They're all in scattered spots. They say, it's fine. You all guys want to fight or whatever. I mean, I don't know how you word it, but my whole point is whatever. You guys will all get a chance. This at the Royal Rumble, it'll be the first Royal Rumble women's match. It'd have been that would have been executed much more better, in my opinion. It would have broke any of their characters.
I've got a way. I've got a way you can fix it. Is what you do is you have them, as you said, they keep brawling. It spills to the outside. It's all over ringside and in the ring, whatever. And to me, this is building up his ego. But you have Triple H come out because I know, building his ego. A few weeks after he both lost the Survivor Series match for SmackDown and won it for Raw.
Right, only one man can somehow win for one team and lose for another. Only one
lose for
man
the
is
other.
capable of doing that.
But no, the reason I say Triple H is because he is seen as one of the main
God, he's
forces in
God.
WWE. No, not that. He's seen as one of the main forces in WWE behind the reinvention of women's wrestling in
Yes.
WWE to what it should have been. So you have him come out and get some security guards, or like get some local female jobbers to like come and stand as security guards and whatever, or or the female referees they've hired and be like, right, you ladies want to fight, then we're gonna do this at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The women of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT will compete in a women's Royal Rumble match.
For fuck's sakes. You know what they could have just done? It's exactly what William Regal did when he announced War Games. That's literally all they had to do. Again, they're all brawling, and then like they're on separate whatever, and that's all he had to do. That's all Steve McMahon had to fucking do.
And I want to say this. This is a message. It'll never say this, I can't say. But this is a message to Triple H, Steph McMahon, Vince McMahon. For the winner, give them the main event of WrestleMania.
That's not happening. You know, bro. You know Roman Reigns has some say in that. You didn't say that. Hold on a minute.
I know, but they should have the fucking.
Maybe not this year, at least. It's definitely not happening this year.
And I tell you one thing they should now also do, right, is if you have a member of the SmackDown women's division win the Royal Rumble match, and then the following month have the first ever women's elimination. And
I was saying, yeah, I was exactly saying that to my brother.
That determines Alexa or whoever the champion is his challenger for WrestleMania.
And that's exactly what I told my brother. I was like, based on how the pay-per-views are, a woman from SmackDown, which I think it might be, because let's face it, Asuka's going to be in that main event for a Raw women's title match at WrestleMania regardless. The question is, she's either facing either Alexa or Paige. That's just the real question of whoever's champion. But for SmackDown, there's really no clear picture. So it's like, I feel like the winner should be a SmackDown person.
I mean, I'm just trying to think. I mean,
because Raw, at least they have a second option, which is the Elimination Chamber.
As much as it's like, was probably put as a joke on Twitter, Carmella could make a lot of sense. And I'll put it like this:
as a champion,
because as the winner of the Royal Rumble.
That's an interesting scenario. I know.
Because if she wins the Royal Rumble, she obviously gets the main event of WrestleMania. But then if she loses, then on SmackDown, like takes out like Charlotte, for example. If Charlotte's the champion, takes out Charlotte from behind, cashes in, and then wins the title.
Because she basically, she had two chances.
Yeah.
It would I feel it, and I feel like out of everybody, because I'm not saying as much as I want to say Becky Lynch should win, I feel like they're gonna do that whole 4 horsewomen bullshit that there's rumor with the MMA thing. So
there's been more talk about that, and that apparently Jessamine Duke and I can't remember the other one.
I don't know. The only two important ones are Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
So. I know. Apparently, the other one have stopped their wrestling training.
So it's like it's more and more.
They might be going back to the UFC. So it looks like it's going to be, as things stand. It looks like from what reports are saying, it's just going to be
Charlotte
and Shayna.
I can see Charlotte and Becky versus those two in a tag team match if that's what they want to do.
Sasha and Bayley or whatever.
Yeah, either or. So that's why I said, like, if that's really the case, you might as well. Because exactly. Yeah, based on that booking logic, this should basically the Royal Rumble should go to SmackDown because they already have their second out with the Elimination Chamber. Because Raw could just do that, and then Asuka's obviously going to win that and face either Alexa Bliss or Paige. This also gives Sasha Banks their most hottest fucking female superstar they fucking have in terms of popularity. Gives her something to do with Bayley and have them fight the two UFC people. While on the SmackDown side, you have Becky win the Royal Rumble, and then she has to face her best friend Charlotte.
And Charlotte turns her back on her again.
And then, well, it doesn't matter because the third option is Carmella. Like, there's a bunch of like that's I think it's more of a you're basically if I was a booking person, get the safer bet would be SmackDown because Raw again they have the elimination chamber they can do. So it's like it'll be easy. It'll be much more safe, in my opinion, in terms of booking, to give it to SmackDown. Because at least you still have Carmella with the money in the bank, regardless. So you might as well give it to SmackDown.
Yeah.
And Raw, they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want anyway, because the main show, they're gonna pull something out of their ass. Hey, guess what? We're gonna have an all Raw Royal Rumble on Monday. And then there goes like they're gonna pull something out of their ass anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
With Raw. But yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, there was there's so many better ways of executing whatever that was on Raw. And then it ended abruptly. That was like the most abrupt ending I ever fucking seen on Monday Night Raw. It just stopped. Like, okay.
It's just the fact that Stephanie came out, stood in the middle of the ring like the Messiah.
That's my point. That's irritating.
And then everyone breaks character.
It's like, why the fuck y'all stop fighting? The fuck? Like, that's what threw me off. Why the hell they stop fighting? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I want to reiterate for the third time. This is an incredible announcement. It's brilliant. There's nothing I wanted more. But it's just the way it came about.
Yeah. There's better ways of executing stuff. They should have went to how they did with War Games, where they're just fucking killing each other, and then William comes out to stop the madness. They did. It's like they did it halfway. It's like the writers looked at that and they only did half of that. It's like, no, we're just gonna do half of that and then make Stephanie look like the top babyface here.
Yeah,
for no reason. That's what they did.
I know, right?
But yeah, so okay, SmackDown. Now, I've been saying this whole podcast. SmackDown, for some reason, this was just a filler episode. Nothing actually happened here.
Yeah.
In terms of like story progression, nothing. Like, I can legit, besides the Dolph Ziggler segment, no, you cannot tell me anything that like forwards the storyline here.
It's just one of those post pay-per-view.
It's weird.
Pay-per-view
because like
show.
Yeah, so first Shane McMahon comes out. No, my bad, scratch that. Daniel Bryan comes out and then talks about it. What basically happened to Shane McMahon. But first, talk about the Women's Royal Rumble. And then Shane McMahon came out and discussed what happened. Again, it made Shane look like a bigger dick than what he was because, again, Daniel Bryan, he only did it because he was trying to save Shane. Shane said, I don't need your help. And Daniel Bryan was like, no, you do, because you were basically going to ruin the credibility that what we created, which was the land of opportunity, even though Theodore Long created that, but we're not going to talk about that. But they created the land of opportunity, and they were going to take that opportunity. They were going to basically just spit in that. And Daniel Bryan had a perfect point. They were basically going to spit in their face of every wrestler in the back. If Shane McMahon would have been allowed to do what he did on Sunday. That's why Daniel Bryan stopped him, which he has a good point. And Shane McMahon said he should look at it from business perspective. He was like, a business perspective. Do you mean I should have done what was best for business?
Those words I've been fighting for years.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, that's what Daniel Bryan said. If you want to fire me, go ahead. Whatever. And Shane McMahon said, no, I'm not going to fire you. Have fun running the show. And it's like, okay, so and then it's so weird because it's like they were trying to make them both look like faces, and it's like, so what happens now? Like, this is my whole issue with the show. One of your main fucking storylines of SmackDown, we don't know what the fuck. I get, Tuesday next week, but it's like this was literally filler. You basically say, all right, they both agreed. We were kind of being dicks in the match, but now since it's over, let's just move. Like, okay, so what happens?
This is literally the most skippable episode.
It was like you could skip this episode and watch the next week's episode. You wouldn't miss anything besides the whole Dolph Ziggler thing. You wouldn't miss anything at all.
I've got to go, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been very, very fun doing this. But yeah, it's one of those episodes where it's one of those SmackDown this week was just one of the episodes where you could just skip entirely.
Exactly, man. But it's nice to have you at least talk about the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
No problem.
Speak to you soon.
All right, so yeah, as I was just saying, you could, as the back of your game say, you pretty much just skip it because you go in the next match. It was Benjamin Gable versus the Usos, and it was as if the Usos winning on Clash Champions meant nothing because Benjamin Gable just beat them cleanly, if I may say. They beat them cleanly, so it's like, are they the next contenders now for the SmackDown Tag Team titles? Nothing is really for sure. It's weird. After that, Charlotte and Naomi basically buried the Riot Squad, essentially. So there's that. The only thing coming out of this was Naomi announced yourself as the one participant in a Rumble match. Was like, it's kind of obvious you had to be in it because not that many women to say that you're not going to be in it, but whatever. Rhea Ripley and Sarah Logan lost. It's just I don't know what they're doing now. I guess like the whole, I feel like Absolute's gonna happen the same route where it's like they can lose now because like it doesn't matter. Because guess what? Women's Royal Rumble, guys. And it's weird. This next segment was the only segment that meant something on this whole fucking show, which was Dolph Ziggler's celebration. And it's weird saying that Dolph Ziggler's segment is the only segment worth it on the show. His whole celebration segment was perfect, in my opinion. The only good part of the show, because it actually left you with a question like, what the hell is happening? Dolph Ziggler came out saying, yeah, he did it, whatever, and basically showing us his whole history of winning championships and whatnot. And after that, he just said these people don't even deserve him and don't deserve to be in his presence. And he was something to remember by. He drops the United States title in the ring and walks out. Where do we go from here? The rest of the show didn't matter, basically. I mean, you had the New Day in the Rusev segment, which is cool because, again, it shows Rusev is over, so that's nice. But they still lost against the New Day. So I feel like they should just turn New Day heels. If you want to do something new with them, turn them heels. Have them do something. Turn Rusev face and English face. That should be something. And then you had the main event. AJ Styles, Rhea Ripley, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Again, there was really no progression. Yes, Jinder Mahal is basically now mid-card again, essentially. We don't know what's happening. Who's the next contender for style? Who the hell is Byron and Bear? Well, this whole, this episode of SmackDown, while the ratings were actually up from this show compared to last week's, you can skip this episode and you would not miss anything. I guarantee you come next week. Besides the Dolph Ziggler segment, there was nothing else really to this show, which is like, is kind of an issue where it's like, I don't even know what's going on SmackDown besides the Dolph Ziggler segment. And yeah, that was pretty much SmackDown. NXT was good. Two-time matches took place. Sanity lost the titles to Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly because of Adam Cole. So now we have new champions. This basically signifies, I think, the end run for Sanity and NXT. I think they're about to be caught up to the main roster, which I feel like they should. So luckily see that. Lars Sullivan defeated Roddy Strong in the number one contenders tournament match. So Lars Sullivan is now part of that fatal four-way, and he will be facing Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and who the hell was that fourth person? Holy shit. Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano. I'm drawing a blank. Holy shit. Who was the first person in that fatal four-way? Killian Dane. Oh my god. Damn. And then he had that good United Kingdom Championship match between Tyler Bate and Pete Seven. And actually, the show went overtime. Usually NXT shows are like 58 minutes. This show didn't go off, ended at the hour and 12-minute mark. Like, they went overtime in this match. They pretty much showed the entirety of this match because this match was good. And NXT is always a solid show, so there's that. 205 Live. It's passable because again, the only thing worth mentioning was Achilles still got injured because of water bottle. That's actually hilarious. When you think about it, after him and Grim Ali fought Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, that was funny. And Daily Tommy fought Colin Delaney. Seems like Colin Delaney is on WWE's payroll again. I'm just saying. So it's like, I guess he could still be here. I guess put him in the cruiserweight division for God's sakes. Colin Delaney, Daily Tommy has debut, whatever. He fought a jobber. That's nice. And Say Alexander defeated Drew Gulak again. It basically took out the rest of the Zo train. What's left of which is only Avari Davari. So it made Enzo realize, holy crap, I'm kind of screwed here. So yeah. And that was 205 Live. And that was all of This Week in Wrestling, guys. So thank you guys for watching. I want to thank Black Ear Gaming and Nee Marie for being part of the chat. And I also want to thank Black Ear Gaming again for coming in just for brief. We'll just talk about that women's Royal Rumble. Always appreciate it. Other than that, guys, if you like today's podcast, make sure you hit that like button, comment down below, and just subscribe to anything else on my channel. All my social media links in the description below. This is Crater signing off. Catch you guys later. See ya.